Welcome to the vault. You've got the love. What else do you have today? You're going to have some success in the house because we have a powerhouse for success in here with us today. I've got a really crowded room, and I'm sitting here with my lovely co-host, my wonderful producer, but also this beautiful woman that I've just met who has this fantastic, gorgeous color on that's making me so attracted. I almost want to steal the shirt right from her.
Oh, my God.
I know. It's sparkly. It's gorgeous. Now, my Leo eyes can only take so much beauty. I'm getting overwhelmed.
Okay, are we having a woman crush here? That's so
It
cute.
can happen. It can happen so easily in the vault because we're loaded with love in the house. Now, listen, guys, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving week, and we're moving forward. We're going to go into the new year. You know, we have a wonderful guest in studio today, and I'm going to introduce my co-host first and myself, and then I want to introduce Sandy Rogers. But sitting next to me is my lovely friend and partner in life and crime and friendship, and that's Katie Sabagian. She is a spiritual psychologist, and she owns Your Soul Symphony. And she has been guiding people and helping people along the way for many years, and she is an inspiration to many. Thank you, Katie, for joining me here this morning.
It's wonderful to be here.
You know, I really rely on you, and I really appreciate you, Lovey.
Oh, join the club, honey.
Thank you.
It goes two ways.
And then we've got Mike Kennedy, who is my friend for a few wonderful years. And yeah, he was my friend once. Once in a blue moon. He's my friend. But, you know, Mike is a professional comedian, and he is here to give us a male perspective on life. It's not just all about we women. You know, we got to have the men around, too, just to give us little interaction and little information.
This week has flown by, ladies. It just seems like minutes ago that we were seeing each other last Sunday. And now Thanksgiving's over, and it's amazing.
I don't know. Yeah, it's really amazing how we fast forward like that.
That's right.
Right.
Very, very cute. We've got our producer, Tashima Oates. Thank you, Tashima, for being here with us every week and keeping me in line.
And Cindy, who are you?
Me, Cindy.
Who are you?
Me is Cindy. You know, I'm Cindy Lou Jones, and I created the show, and I brought you all here with me to shed some light in the world and some love and spread awareness and, you know, have open communication here at our table, but spread it out into the world. What's great about internet radio, you guys, is we aren't just here in Phoenix. We are reaching people in London, and we have listeners in New York City, and we have listeners in Japan. So Akron, Ohio. Yeah, you know, all those wonderful places in America. So we want to give a shout out. You know, we're trying to make, if we touch one person, then we're happy, right, guys?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if we make them laugh, if we inspire them in some way. So today we have a wonderful guest, and Katie's the one that introduced me to Sandy Rogers.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
I can't contain myself right now.
Yeah, I know. She has a relationship with her and has really talked so wildly and well about Sandy that I was like, oh my God, we got to get her on the show. So Sandy, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So Sandy Rogers is a certified networker professional. She's had a combined 40 years of expertise in corporate sales, marketing, administration, and she's going to bless us with a lot of information. Do you know that she's known as the referral queen?
Yes, I do know.
I mean, to have that title, that's pretty huge.
I know. That is a big title.
So what she's going to do, the title of our show today is Success and How to Attain It with the Magic of Networking. Now, you know, there's a lot of roadblocks that we come across when we're trying to build success in business or in personal relationships. Or, Mike, have you found anything, like, for you personally that has been a little bit of a roadblock when it comes to success?
Oh, totally. In comedy, you feel like you're at a place, and then nothing ever happens, and you can't figure out why, and you realize that it's called, like, finding your voice. Mm-hmm. And the trick is figuring out when that actually is, and you don't want to be seen before that. A lot of people try to chase success too early in their lives. They're not ready. But by the way, Sandy, you said 40 years? You started this when you were 3 years old.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm 65 and a half, you guys.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me just tell you, you could have lied about your age.
See, I thought you said you were 3. So.
Yeah. You could have lied about your age.
I know how to network, too. I'm not...
Now, so here, there is nothing wrong with a little bit of schmooze. Now, listen, the thing about networking is this. I have had a career as a young woman in entertainment. I'm now back in it again, but I'm also an entrepreneur, which means I've had businesses, right? Some are successful, some are not so successful. Networking, there's a wide net of networking. So Right now, we've got all the social media, so I do want to talk to Sandy about all of that. But I want to get into a few things that I've seen in networking and how it can change your life, okay, in any aspect. So Mike is a comedian. I am a business owner. Katie is a spiritual psychologist in the healing world. We're in 3 different worlds. Every single one of those worlds, though, can be touched and moved with networking into a positive direction, right? I mean,
the key... If I say nothing else, the thing that you need to remember is networking is about building relationships. It matters not what the business is. It matters not about the product or the service that you're offering. It's all about building relationships.
So you know that old adage that says it's not what you know, it's who you know. Let me just tell you, growing up in LA in the entertainment world, you will see people sometimes that don't have talent that are making buku dollars. Now, sometimes there's people with a lot of talent. But I used to work for a very famous actor when I was young, and we were having lunch at this great restaurant, and we sat down, and some guy calls us over, and I didn't know who it was, but it was Francis Ford Coppola. And I'm having lunch now with Francis Ford Coppola, and I'm like in my 20s going, holy mother of God, and I started to get a little nervous. I'm like, oh my God. Now, I didn't want to be in movies or anything, but I'm going to tell you what happened at that table. He liked me because I had an open personality and, I have a little bit of charm. And he was like, hey, do you act? And stupid me goes, no, because I was a singer at the time. And but what I realized, he goes, oh, well, that's too bad because I've got this new movie that's coming out. I'd love to have you on the set because he liked my personality. I was networking at the time, but I blew it. Well, I blew it. I was a kid. Also, I didn't have the interest. But let's just say that if I were to put myself in a situation where I'm networking with people and I want to be in acting, you have to be sitting at that table with these people. Here in Scottsdale, I am now writing a book, and 3 years ago, a friend invited me to a lunch. It was a networking lunch for publishers. I was the only author there because it was supposed to be publishers, but I went ahead just to, get some experience. And, well, I'm sitting at a table with a bunch of publishers, and I'm an author. So, of course, convenient. I'm older now, and I opened up my mouth, And, over a couple glasses of wine, I made some friendships, and I made some very powerful friendships. And guess what? I got a small little publishing deal offer for my first book. And that was all through networking, meeting people, being yourself, getting to know people for real. Like, I don't think it's just for me personally. It's not just about meeting people. Sandy's going to give us a lot of information, and I'm going to ask her questions. But for me, it's also about having integrity behind what you're selling.
Yes, that's huge.
Having belief in what you're needing to market, correct? You have to believe in what you're doing personally, your business, your gift, whatever it is you're networking for. And then when you meet with people, to be real.
Yes,
don't be BSing them, right?
Yes, authentic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Katie, what have you found as far as businesses go? Can any business benefit from networking?
You're looking.
Sorry, Sandy. I'm always going to be looking at Sandy because Sandy
Katie just had this look of panic on her face. Like, how am I supposed to answer that?
I'm always going to be looking at Sandy because, again, I'm bedazzled with this beautiful color and beauty. Okay. No, Sandy, I'm going to ask you because that's who I'm supposed to be asking. So sometimes I make mistakes.
Sandy and you're asking me the question, and I get really confused.
Not really her field of expertise.
Networking has been very helpful for me, just so you know. But go ahead,
So
Sandy.
help us, Sandy. So do all businesses benefit from networking?
Yes, if it's done properly.
Okay.
We network in our life every day, whether we're in business or we're a housewife. We network every day.
Okay, so now...
So networking is nothing more, and I'll go back to what I said a minute ago. Networking is really nothing more than building relationships. And
what if you're antisocial, Sandy?
Then you're not going to build whatever it is that you need to do.
Do you have to go outside your comfort zone? Do you have to force yourself if you want to create success?
Depends on what it is. If you're wanting to build a business, you absolutely must get out of your comfort zone. And it's interesting because whenever I teach a class, I have this poem that I read that's all about comfort zone.
Okay.
And, it's like until we're able to get out of that comfort zone, we're not going to reach the circle of people that we need to reach quickly, efficiently, and effectively. We might be able to reach them, but it might take us 2 years instead of 2 months.
God, it's
we
hard.
don't like that.
Well, it's similar like in the restaurant business. If someone's like, you know what, I just like cooking meals. I don't want to deal with all the other stuff you got to deal with. It's like, well, then you're never going to own your own restaurant, because part of owning a restaurant is being that magnetic personality.
And unless you've networked well enough that you can find somebody else to partner with whose passion is about running a restaurant.
I told a
not
kid
about
that the other night. He was going to school for IT, and he was the most charming. He was originally from Ireland, super charming kid.
Yeah.
And I go, you know what you're going to do? I go, you're going to partner up with a big nerd who's antisocial, like a Bill Gates. And I go, you're going to be the face of this guy's company. And he goes, wow, yeah, I could see myself doing that.
So a suggestion is, so let's say you have a roadblock, you're shy, or you have fear with the general public, you're not outgoing. Should you then maybe look for someone who could support that and be a little bit more outgoing because it's that important?
Absolutely, but here's something that I always encourage and that I teach.
Okay.
You don't have to go network in crowds of 100 people. You can network in a crowd of 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So if there's somebody that you feel that you need to meet to help you grow your business, who do you know that may know that person? You're going to know somebody. Everything we need is already in our network. Everything, anybody that we would ever need to meet is already in our network. We just need to be very clear, and you said this a minute ago, we need to be very clear about what is our business, what are our goals, what is it, what service or product do we provide, and who needs that. So it goes to knowing who, and the old-fashioned term is target market, the new term is tribe. It's still a target market.
I like that name, tribe.
Who's your niche? Who's your niche? You know, you have to know who that is. It's not anybody and everybody. It never is. I don't care what business you're in. When I hear people say, well, everybody can use my service, everybody can, but not everybody will buy it.
Or wants to, yeah.
So then so let's say we know what our particular niche is, and part of creating a business, or if you have an established business, is you really do need to do your homework. You have to know. Because if you don't, you don't want to target the wrong people. So once we find our niche, then how do we reach them? Now there's social network, which is networking. What do you suggest to someone who's, like, as an example, we have a radio show. We would like to reach more people because we are trying to touch people's lives and hearts. It matters to us. For us, would we use social media? I mean, what would you suggest to an up-and-coming business in the area? You know,
all the social media are tools. They're not designed to be standalone. This is the only thing that I do. And so many people that I meet today, especially people who are new in their business, most of the people that I work with are in the holistic field, metaphysical field. And, you know, they have these wonderful ideas that I'm here to serve the world and I just want everybody to feel good and know. But they have to be really clear about, when you're in business, you're in business. And part of being in business is having as many of the tools in place as possible for you to grow your business. And that includes having a website. That includes having a presence in social media, but not just using social media. And I find that that's a mistake that a lot of people are making, even people who've been in business a long time.
Yeah, because they're not real.
They're not real relationships.
And a very small percentage, actually, they said a very small percentage actually move forward and assist you in the career that you have.
But it's a tool in the toolbox that you need to have, but not put all of your eggs in one basket.
So it kind of spreads the awareness that you're there.
You need to be, and you need to be consistent with it. You need, whatever you're posting on social media should be relevant to what you're doing, not just fluffy stuff. Fluffy stuff is okay. When I say fluffy stuff, you know, passing along the positive pictures and the positive affirmations, those are really wonderful, and I do that myself because it speaks to me. But as a business person, what are you putting out there that whoever might be reading the page as it goes by, because trust me, they flip by faster than you can blink, you know, what's your message that you're trying to give? And not just selling. Don't try to sell everybody on social media. And that's a big mistake that people make. They think that if I put this project out there, if I put this product out there, if I tell everybody it's on sale today, that everybody's going to buy it. We can go anywhere to buy whatever is out there. We can find it in 100 different places. So we have to stand apart from the crowd.
How do we
and
do
the way
that,
that you
Sandy?
do is you start building relationship. I watched.
So we make a million best friends type of thing?
No, you're not going to build relationships doing that. But I'm going to share something very funny that I just saw a video on this, and it was hysterical. It was about a project that a guy did in L.A. who wanted to meet his friends on Facebook that he doesn't know.
Wow, I love that.
And
I
did you
read
see
about
It was
that.
on- I think it was on Yahoo.
Yeah,
I think
that
it was
is-
Yahoo.
that was
It was
amazing.
hysterical, but that's the point. It's like we can have 10,000 friends on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter. It doesn't mean anything if they don't know who you are and what you offer, if you're looking at using those tools to grow your business.
Okay.
If you're looking at them to just be out there and play and have a good time, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're using that and you think that that's going to explode your business, you need to have a coming of call.
Okay. Okay.
need to
So,
have a different call.
if we're an entrepreneur then and we need to build our business, we're here in the Phoenix area. Do we call someone like you? Do we try to do it on our own? How do we find our niche? How do we build those relationships with people? Do we need to go out? They have this thing called Meetup, and Katie and I are part of that, in which Katie has started a women's group, which I'm now a part of. And that's a beautiful way to interact with people. We're forming friendships because we're seeing them on a regular
Absolutely.
basis. But these are women, too, that are supportive of our show and supportive of us now. Is it that kind of networking? Do we do these?
There are, especially in Phoenix. Phoenix, I think, is a mecca for networking.
Really?
We could find a networking event to go to 24/7 in
That's
Phoenix.
true. That's
Honest
true.
to goodness.
And
It's
people
also-
are nice here. People are supportive
we
here.
could find literally any kind of topic that you would ever want to find an event, whether it's a lunch or a dinner or a mixer or somebody's in their home meeting. I mean, 24/7 we could spend. So again, it comes back to, what is your goal? Who do you want to meet? Who do you need to meet? Do you need to meet people who are going to be your end target market,
Right.
who are actually going to buy your product or service, or do you meet people who are already selling to that target market? So again, you have to do your research. I tell
if you're
people,
saying like a holistic and stuff like that, like same with you, Cindy, with your business that you have, like environmental thing. Like I would think like going to a farmer's market would be a great place to go to, because those are people that are kind of into the environment and everything else.
I own a green cleaning company. So if I were to, when I first started, I joined all these green networks, know, and and also I have a niche of HOA communities.
Okay.
So then I go to HOA meetings and things like that, and I try to get those clients. That really helped me. But I wouldn't go elsewhere because, I'm targeting a certain market. Now with the show, we want to reach everybody. So we're not really sure what direction we want to market. We'll talk to you after the show about that. But because I don't want to make this just about us, but about just in general, how does networking increase someone's business?
by visibility. It's your visibility which creates your credibility. And again, the
I like
credibility is going to be built based on how you react and respond.
Okay.
Okay, and what I mean by that is, do you follow up? And I'll use an example. Let's say that you've gone to, and I'm going to use Networking Phoenix as an example. That's a huge organization. I mean, they do a quarterly mixer that there's 2,000 people show up to.
Holy
It is
mother of
not-
God.
It is not a place where you're going to go build your business. It is a place, however, where you can meet people that can help you build your business. But you have to go, and my whole point of this is any networking that you do, whether it's to a 2,000 group event or a 2-person group event, you have to have a goal and a plan in mind of why are you spending your time and possibly your money to attend whatever that is that you're attending.
And you have to make an impression.
Does it make sense for you? And that again comes to getting out of your comfort zone. Sometimes people, depending on their business, they're really, really good at what they do. And I'll use metaphysics as an example, spirituality as an example. I know a lot of people who are in that field who offer mediumship and angel readings and psychic readings and those kind of things, and they're really good at what they do. They suck at business.
Well, a lot of us do.
Yeah.
A lot of creative people do
They
a lot
suck
of
at
med-
business.
Very
a lot of spiritual
floaty.
people.
Yes,
Yeah.
very floaty.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it means getting out of your comfort zone, but really researching where it is that you need to go where people can hear you. that they can listen to what it is that you have to share. Okay, so I would say that, and I'll use a psyche as an example. Typically, she's not going to go to the Baptist convention center.
Well, if she wants to get thrown out on her ears, she will.
No disrespect, but I mean that's a fact. That's a fact.
Right.
Okay, so
A little out of place.
So let's.
I mean, I use an extreme there.
No, but I mean, it's true. So we're going to go into break in a minute, Sandy, then we're going to come back with more questions. So basically, to recap, we want to make sure that we get out of our comfort zone. We want to find our niche market. So we have to do some research. Even if we have an established business and it's not growing, take a step back, meet with someone like Sandy, and figure out maybe what you're doing wrong and what direction to take, and go at that wholeheartedly. And if you are not comfortable getting out of that comfort zone, find somebody who is. You may have to pay somebody else to do it, but you've got to do it to get to that next level, right, Sandy?
Right.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. We're going to talk a little bit more during the break about this, and then we're going to answer some more questions. And Sandy, we really appreciate having you here. Thank you so much.
This is my joy.
Oh, well, this is our joy, too. It really is. Hey, I like that music, Tashima. Thank you. You know, my little producer here picked that music out just especially for us. Thank you, Tashima. It puts me in that successful mode.
Yeah.
You know, Sandy, I'm ready to succeed. You understand?
You already are.
I am so.
You know
thank
what? We
you,
already
love.
are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey,
You just want to grow it.
Well, I want to ask you a few more questions. I'm going to start with this one. Give us some no-nos for networking. No-nos.
Oh, I love this question, and this is one that I like to address when I do a live workshop because I'm very animated with it. So I'll try to set the stage.
Be animated. We'll just be animated.
I'll try to set the stage for this one since people are listening.
Okay.
So you know when you go to an event and you're having a nice conversation with somebody, and that crazy person literally interrupts your conversation and literally steps between you and the other person and shoves their brochure or their business card in your hand.
Oh, yeah.
And says, "Buy from me."
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
then they're off in another direction doing the same thing to somebody else. That's a definite no-no.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to shove your business card in anybody's hand. Again, I'm going to go back to relationships.
It shows no integrity.
You can start building a relationship literally in a 30-second to 1-minute conversation. We're all pretty intuitive. We know when we can connect with somebody. Pretty much almost instantly. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but pretty much we know that instantly.
Is it through eye contact, a smile, body language also? Does that all come to play?
All of the above.
I take it the same way. If you're on a date with someone and you can tell they like you, it's the same thing when you're like, there's a...
Right.
Yeah.
What is?
Yeah.
Okay?
But you know what?
But the biggest no-no that I'm going to say in networking that people honestly don't know how to do, and that's to shut up.
That's so
it's
true.
like be the best listener that you've ever been when you're networking.
Because instead of talking and blabbing on about yourself,
be a listener, not somebody who's listening and thinking about the next question you want to ask, but really absorb what somebody is speaking about.
I totally agree because I've lived it, and I have seen that a lot of people want to help, especially now. I don't know why, but Phoenix seems to be a place where they want to help you as an entrepreneur. They're happy here to facilitate your growth in business, whatever it is. I've seen that in many walks of life here. But when you take a step back and you let them teach you something, you're actually going to gain from their knowledge and their expertise, but you're also endearing yourself to them because they're now a teacher-student.
They're being acknowledged. We all like to be acknowledged.
True.
And when we're not listening, if somebody's trying to tell us something and we're off in our own thoughts about,
we know more than you.
Close the sale. I know more than you.
Yeah.
Keep talking because I now need to talk to you about what I'm doing. That's like the biggest mistake.
I can't stand that,
in
honestly.
networking.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
So some characteristics of a good networker would be integrity, right?
Integrity. A good listener.
A great listener.
I'm going to say a great listener. And after that, a great person who knows how to follow up.
Oh, so
how do we follow up, Sandy? What's a follow-up? I think that's where I drop my ball.
If you had this great conversation, and I'm going to back it up a minute, be a person who gives first rather than receives.
Yeah.
So if you're in a conversation with somebody at a networking event and they're telling you about something that they need, turn on your computer brain your Rolodex up here, and think about who it is that you can refer them to give them what it is that they need, because it might not be
that,
you.
Katie,
Yes, you do.
It
You
most
do that.
likely isn't
I
going to
do
be
that.
you.
Yeah, I
Okay?
try to do that.
And that's
that
why
comes
people are
from
so
listening,
supportive of
because then
you.
you figure
I
out
guess,
it's
because you
something
do that.
they're looking for, and you go, oh, I know a guy who does that, or a woman
talk
who does
about
that. Yeah.
endearing yourself to someone, and you've not had a conversation about what you do,
Exactly.
about who you are and what you do, because you've really been present to them. However, here's where the follow-up comes in. Be very clear that if you are, and again, this is about integrity and authenticity, be very clear about, you know what, I would really like to meet you for coffee. Let's talk some more about what it is that you need, but I'd also like you to know more about what I do. Don't forget to include yourself.
Right.
And oftentimes, I run into this a lot, that we forget to include ourselves. And I've seen it happen. I used to do this with people, to meet them for coffee, and it was all about them. Da, 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 and
So
and
how do
all
you
of a
swap
sudden
the
they have to
conversation?
leave, and there was never a question from them about who I am or what I do or what I need.
How do you deal with those type of people?
I write them off my list.
Well, that's how Sandy deals. Now, take note, everybody. When you're sitting in Sandy's presence, don't make it all about you.
It's one of those things that you just kind of catalog.
Yeah.
And you go, and it may be appropriate. Again, it's like having that intuition. It may be appropriate to come back to them and say, you know what? I really learned a lot about you, but can you tell me anything about me? Because networking is about mutually beneficial
Or maybe not take them off the
relationships.
list, but put them way down the list and go, maybe
Well,
in
and
3 years, maybe they'll figure.
I
But
don't
maybe in
take
3
them-
years they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
they'll-
take them
yeah.
completely off
Yeah,
the
yeah.
list.
But you know,
at that
Sandy,
juncture, but yeah.
Sandy, what you're saying holds true just in personal relationships in general.
Again,
Think about you guys in
it
this room and
is.
listening audience. Think about this. In life, the people that we like the most are the ones that are generous with us. The ones that we think about them because they've made us feel good about ourselves. They've made us feel important. They've given of themselves. You know, my mother always said, you know, if you give, you will receive. You don't want to do it for that reason, but it's true. Now, Sandy, I'm going to give you something ugly to think about now. I've seen this too. Growing up in LA, you see a lot of bad stuff, and you see a lot of very successful people that aren't giving, that aren't nice. So how do we, and you scratch your head and go, gosh, I'm a good person. I'm giving, I'm considerate. I'm good to people. Like I am, like Katie said, I'm very generous with people. I want to help. I'm less about myself sometimes than others, and people get that, and I am really supported. But, money doesn't fall from the tree either, from the nice tree. So how do we take that integrity that we have, those personal relationships, and then build them down the road to that success? What roadblocks do we have that you think we need to overcome, and how do we do that with networking?
So what I would say is, first is, how are you defining success?
Oh, and we're going to be talking about that.
Because you said something that was interesting. You said some of these people who aren't so nice are making lots of money. Mm-hmm. Is that really success? That would be
well. I mean,
it's a
okay.
question that we're not going to answer today, but
we'll get into
certainly. That. I mean, it's something to look at. And here's what I say to myself, and I've said this for years because I'm a giver. Mm-hmm. I mean, Katie knows me. I mean, I don't know how not to. And in fact, years ago, somebody did a workshop on what does your name mean? What was the meaning of your name that you were given at birth?
Oh, wow.
And the name Sandy means helper and defender of mankind.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Talk about inheriting.
I can't get away from it. I can't help myself. But at the same time, we have a business. Mm-hmm. And if this is how we make our living, we have to be very clear and in integrity with ourselves.
Yes.
To give to the point of challenging my own financial success is something that I work on all the time. It's like where do you draw the line to say, okay, I've now given to this organization, to this person, to whatever the project is, whatever it is. At what point does it come back to me? And maybe again, and the idea of giving is, and I'll use tithing as an example. My teaching, my belief is that tithing is not always about giving to the church. It's about giving where I receive my spiritual food.
Okay.
So using that, if I'm giving over here to this organization, I may be getting fed from another place.
Sure. Now, Katie, we were talking about success and what does it mean to us? Is it financial? Is it spiritual? You have a segment. We're going to go ahead and go into that now because I want to finish up with more questions for Sandy. Sandy, you have so much helpful information. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This is a treat.
What do you have about success?
Before we get into that segment, I just want to share something that Sandy taught me that stayed with me for a really long time.
Okay.
And that was, she said, people get into business with you not because of what you're here to sell, but because of who you are.
Okay, so that's number one, Sandy?
That is huge for me because it was like, oh my, it brought everything back to me. It's not even about what I have to sell or my product or my service. It's about whether they like me as a person.
People do business with people that they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Matters not what the product or the service is. I mean, and I'm being general when I say this because we buy stuff online all the time and we don't know the people who own
Right,
those
but that's a different
businesses.
story.
Yeah,
you realize that you
But
guys have seen
using
like,
the context here
Yeah.
of networking face to face with people do business with people that they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Katie, we have a few minutes before we go to break. So do you want to start
We
with
can
your...
get started, yeah.
Okay.
And so, really, we were just talking about it right now. Guys, people have really forgotten the definition of success. And so I want to start by asking each of you, what does success mean to each of you? Cindy, what does success mean to you?
Success, first of all, means following my bliss, that I'm in bliss with whatever I'm doing. And then, of course, for me, it's having the comfort from financial means to have freedom. That's what success is for me.
I would say that's probably true for most of us. Success for me is having those amazing relationships with people who sometimes I don't see for years on end or that I've never met in person. We've built a relationship by phone. We've built a relationship by email.
So
for
it's
me,
really
that's
intimate
success.
connections in a
It's
sense.
those connections.
What
that's
about you, Mike?
success.
I like an old Bob Dylan quote. It's about a man is a success if he wakes up in the morning and does whatever he wants during the day and then goes to sleep at night.
Following
He
your
spends
bliss,
his day
right?
doing what he wants to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, also to me, success is happiness resulting from sharing your gifts with others. Because that's what really, without happiness, what the hell does success really even mean? So, these days, success has become so pressurized and so struggle filled. And it's not really meant to be a battle, but it's kind of turned into one, these days. And so success, I want to change that definition for you guys. It's about figuring out where you stand in this game called life. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You can use this success as a great tool to help bring you closer to yourself.
Love it.
So in other words, if you've lost connection with yourself, you're going to lose connection with your success. And do you see how that's such a different way of looking at success? Do you see how deep a subject this is, guys?
Yeah.
It's very deep. It's not about money at all. It goes so much deeper than that. And
Well,
so
I would say when you've hit that place that you've got that reality, everything else falls into place.
yes.
It will just be a natural flow.
Absolutely. So when you've really gone in touch with yourself. And so success is meant to motivate you to get in touch with that inspiration. And what is that, guys? That's the juice that keeps you moving forward in life. Without that, really, there kind of is no point in living. So it will always push you to be yourself. Because only when you're yourself, you can give the gifts that are true to you.
So just to really honor who you are and what your true gifts are and what your joy is first.
Yes.
And then let the success come to you. So when you hear that music, Katie, that means that we're going to go into a really short break, but we still have plenty of time. We're going to finish your lovely segment. Thank you so much for that. And then we're going to get back with Sandy and really try to help our listeners get past any roadblocks they have and form these personal relationships that they really need to formulate to gain the success that they're seeking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So hold on. Don't go anywhere because there's going to be a lot of really juicy, lovely stuff when you get back. I'm telling you, you're never going to be bored in the vault. So come back after break. You're making sure your soul's all right. Yeah. I like that, Tashima. Thank you. Hey, we're back from break and we're with our co-host Sandy Rogers and Katie. And Katie, you're going to finish up your segment with us about
And Mikey.
success. Oh, and Mikey's here too.
I'm being ignored over
But
here.
Mikey,
I know.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Too, and you guys are all not talking to me.
You look so pretty in your pretty shirt and sweatshirt.
I've got 2 good points that we'll make later. Give me time at the end.
Okay,
Sounds
love.
good.
Okay, Katie.
And so, once again, I'm just going to recap. Success will always push push you to be yourself, because only when you're yourself, you can share the gifts that are true to you. That's very important. So if you're not yourself, you're not going to have success. And we're talking about the true definition of success, guys. Let's just remember that. So now, this is really hard because most people have forgotten who they are. And, they're wondering, what is it that I should be doing? Haven't you met friends like that? Don't you know people like that?
I think we all get lost along our way sometimes where we're like,
right.
well, who are we? What are we doing? We have to give ourselves a little kickstart once in a while, right?
Yes.
I've had that happen.
And a really good kickstart, a very good, helpful question is, what is deeply meaningful to you? Really sit and think about that. Because, what is deeply meaningful to you that if you saw on TV or if you saw outside somewhere, it would really touch your insides, almost like something inside you would say, I want to be like that. You know what I mean? That's the type of meaning that I'm talking about, that deep touching. And it's like, it's this feeling like, this is why my heart is beating. This is why I'm living. We're talking about getting in touch with that part of yourself.
What you were put on this planet for.
And let me tell you, if you get in touch with that part of your success will pour from you.
Yeah,
pour.
Just to back that up, over the summer years ago, I met a spiritual healer, and I was struggling to be a singer, but I also had a corporate job and going to law school and all this. I'm like, who am I? She goes, honey, you are not a corporate lawyer. You are a singer. Now, you need to live it 24/7. So, be who you are, basically. And 6 months later, I had a record deal.
And did it make your heart beat? Did it make you feel like that's why you're waking up in the morning?
That was me.
Yes.
That was me.
Yes. See, it's getting in touch with that
people
meaning.
Ask me all the time, what's my passion? And it's connecting people.
Yeah.
It's like when I can connect people to projects or each other, it's like I just...
A joy,
inside,
right?
It's just like, okay, I did my job today.
Yeah.
And so don't you feel then that, don't you find that your greatest success will come when you're doing what your natural ability is to do? If you're not fighting against the wind, per se,
yes.
right?
Your natural gift.
Were you like that in school too?
Yeah.
Were you someone who always try to make everyone get along?
Somebody introduced me one time about, when Sandy was born, she introduced the doctor to her mother.
Ferris Bueller, yeah. You're like, everyone knows Sandy.
So,
and it's like,
I've kind of been doing it all my
Yeah.
So it's just a natural thing for her, and that's why she's found success.
And you started right away. You figured that out right away.
Yeah.
That's good. Some people don't figure out what their bliss is or whatever you want to call it till they're later in life. That's
I don't think it matters when we find it, as long as we find it.
I know, that's what's amazing that she knew right away.
I don't think I identified it as that for a very long time. I mean, I just did it so naturally. I mean, it wasn't anything that I put effort in. But when the networking thing came on the scene about 10 years ago, and all of a sudden networking was like a buzzword, well, yeah, that's what I
And you were like, well, I've been doing that for 15 years. I didn't know what to call it, but thank you, for giving me a name for it. Yeah.
And so, guys, if I were to sum it up, I would say success shows you how well you can answer this question. And the question is, what's the best way I can transform my life? And I'll tell you why. Because what brings transformation in your life is ultimately the best way that you can bring transformation in other people's life. It's where you are the most effective. So if you can transform your life with a fantastic haircut, well, then it's, you're meant to be a hairdresser. For me, it's like, I can't stand suffering. I like to alleviate people from suffering. And see, that's why I went into the profession that I am. What about you, Cindy?
I like to touch people through love. I really like to see their internal bliss happen with unconditional love. And whatever that means, whether it be through music, through food, through radio, through the book that, I'm going to put out. It's all about just acceptance, pure acceptance from me, my heart into theirs, and see it be filled with joy.
Yes.
I like that.
See, I think acceptance is the word for you. I think that's the way you transform your own life, and that's how you're going to help transform others as well. What about you, Mike?
My favorite job is being Mike Kennedy, and that's what I'm really good at, and that's what I'm doing now.
And so the
part of that
humor
is like making people laugh and telling crazy stories and being that guy who's like, well, I always say my friends, like, men are different than women, because men, we don't talk to each other. Like, we can not talk to each other for 3 years, and we can just pick up right back where we left off.
But that's a simpler way.
But I always look at myself, my role with my friends, and they know this about me, is that I'm the guy that if they ever accidentally kill somebody, I know I'm the first one they're calling.
Well, gee, that's a nice thing to think about, Mike.
That's
the criteria.
Too, so they know I know a lot of really
if they accidentally kill someone. Now, I've never had that conversation. I've never had that conversation.
I have some.
Hey, buddy, I accidentally killed someone yesterday.
They go, hey, is my wife cheating on me, or is my wife? They feel like, hey, I think something's going going on at work, and they go, I'll figure it out for you. They know I'm that guy.
Okay, so let's get back on track. Let me just wipe myself off of that visualization right now. Hey, Sandy, if, Katie and I were talking about how to market the show. So this is a great question for us and anybody in the listening audience who's building a business. We have some friends that we know out there really trying to create big things in the world. And, should we attend as many events as we can or that we see, or do we create them ourselves? What's more effective?
Well, here I'm going to come back full circle. This is where social media comes into play. If you want this to go out to the world, not just the Phoenix market, you need to build relationships with people from around the globe. And one of the ways you do that is through Twitter, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through YouTube. Okay, so I don't know if you're uploading these shows
on
onto
YouTube. Yeah.
So I would reach out to some people who are already followers or fans that you don't know. If you can figure out where they're from, say, listen, we're getting ready to do a social media campaign. We want to grow the listenership of this show.
Just be upfront what you're doing.
Can you just be upfront? Would you be willing to help us out?
Wow, I never thought of that.
I mean, it's we love to help each other.
What I think we should do is we should do a live.
Leave it up to them to tell us how to help us.
At like a theater in town. We should do a live show at a theater in town. We do the radio show at the front, and then at the end, I do 20 minutes of stand-up comedy at the end.
Okay.
And we do it like a social networking mixer thing.
But it's it's about, so that would be something
we
local.
Showcase all of our personalities. Yeah.
No, Sandy, I've never, what you just said, I want to tell you, I've done a lot of marketing for many different things. I have not looked at it like what you just said. In other words, you're actually wanting us to turn to other people to help us figure out how to market us over there. So I have friends in London. I should call them and say, I want to expand my radio. How can you help me do that?
Would you tweet this out? Would you Facebook this out for us? And here's the thing that I want to say. When you ask that question of somebody, have the material ready for them that all they have to do is cut and paste it.
Yeah.
You're not asking them to do any work.
Make it very easy for them.
Do you suggest
there's book launches that happen. There's global book launches.
Well, that's what I'm about to do. So I will be talking to you.
That are all about it. I just did one for a friend of mine. We did a social media book tour for a week. And there were different people literally around the globe who tweeted out, who Facebooked out, who did all kinds of stuff. And when she started, I think she had 50 friends on her Facebook page. At the end of the campaign, which was 4 days long, she had 400 people, fans on her Facebook page. So are those all people who know her? No.
So you really do believe in the social networking?
I believe in social networking, but it's one tool.
Right, but we do need to utilize it.
But it's based on a personal relationship. You develop a personal relationship offline, and then you use the social media to enhance
And what
that.
I'm going to say, and what I said is look at your friends, look at your fans. If there are people in other parts of the globe that you don't know, they happen to be a fan, but you don't know, reach out to them.
Maybe personal
private
email.
Message them,
Private
email
message.
them,
We don't
and say,
do that.
thank you for being a fan.
that.
Thank you for being a follower. I wonder if you'd be willing to help us. We're going to launch a campaign. Would you be willing to help? People love to help each other.
And so it's okay to reach out to a client for more clients.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Ask for a referral. Don't ever hesitate to
I have a guy in
ask for a
Canada who's
referral.
really into music, and he goes, "You're one of my favorite comedians." And I go, "I am."
I've
never even heard of you.
We forget to do that. We forget to ask for that
I think
referral.
we're afraid. I almost feel like sometimes
You don't
for
want to
me,
be a bother.
We're afraid. We don't want to be like pushing it down their throats. We have a little bit of fear,
Yeah,
but in all reality, like you said, people generally, their natures are nurturing. I have found that when I come to them with humility, a bit of humbleness, and say, "I need your help," that's when I have found the greatest
but
help.
confident. Humility and humbleness, but confidence.
True.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially in this, what we're doing, if we sent a clip to somebody, like for an example, if you want to connect with somebody, say, "Hey, you know what? I think this would be helpful to you. If you like it, if you could retweet that, or you could, but I think this is something that could help you in your life that we talked about on the show." That could be really the great stepping stone.
And
or
also,
introduction.
Sandy, as an example, we're using our show as an example just to give the listeners.
Absolutely.
But
But that's
as an
this is true for anything.
As an example, we're not going to do it with every single show hitting up people every single week, right?
No,
we're going to be
I would say-
selective.
I would say create a goal of by June 1st. I don't know, by June 1st, 2014, that you want to be able to reach 500,000 listeners.
Well, now, Sandy,
Okay.
I like that
You put
number.
wheels on our bum
Are you
bumps.
now going to live with us every day and join us? Because I kind of,
you know
that
what?
number made me have goosebumps.
Here's something that I say all the time. We build a network one relationship at a time. Because if you think about it, I mean, using the old network marketing model, here's you in the middle.
Yeah.
If you connect with one person out here, how many people does that person know? They're going to connect with people out here. So I mean, it's a natural progression.
Should we put in mind to think about outside of the box even? Now this is going to sound kind of selfish, but do we think about who we're connecting with? Do we look at their followers? What can we gain from them? Like we don't,
Absolutely.
like the powerhouses.
Don't be willy-nilly about connecting. Have a plan. Be specific. Know who it is that you want to reach.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're reaching out to Joe Schmo, who's got followers that are Joe Schmo, and I mean no disrespect, they're not going to be into this anyway.
Yeah.
So no, do your research.
So what do you think about radio and local television?
Again, radio and local television. Just like we've connected here, this is radio. Okay? It's like the more that people learn about who you are and what you do, the more they're going to want to have you as a guest on their show. But you have to be the one promoting it. And partner with, it's like we've now created a relationship.
Yes.
You guys are going to talk about me on your website.
We are. Yes.
You're going to, so it's building those mutually beneficial relationships.
Okay.
And that's
so
what people,
Same thing with
when
television.
They first start a business, they don't think long term like that. They think, like you're saying, they always try to get that sale right away, and it's like you might not sell this person today, but you might sell them something in 2 years.
And I mean,
that's happened with me.
In the meantime, can help you get the word out about
You're
your
both
business.
in the entertainment industry, okay? Looking at television, I'm sure that you guys have got all kinds of things that you could offer some television host on one of the daytime,
Oh, we're thinking
shows.
about it, honey.
So it's like, but who do you know that can get to those hosts?
Yeah.
You don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Someplace in your network, and I'm telling you there, research your own personal network. Somebody knows somebody at one of those television.
I'm a guest on a
and
lot
this
of
is
radio
this
shows,
is
yes,
good.
because-
This is good. I mean, for anybody, if that's what you want to do, if you want to have that television presence, if you think that that's going to launch you, it's not.
Well,
it'll get you some credibility. It'll get you some visibility, but it's not going to launch your business. Only you can do that.
Listen, we need to wrap up our show, unfortunately. Sandy Rogers, thank you so much for coming in today. It was so nice to be graced with your presence.
It was so much fun.
We're going to have,
guys.
can you come back again in a month from now? I think we need to have her on regularly. She is too awesome for words. So if you guys are really ready, write down this web address, okay? It is AskSandyRogers.com, and it's Rogers, Rogers. Well, on our Facebook page, we're going to have any information about her that you need. We're going to have that up within a few days. And then we're also going to have this show posted on YouTube within a week. So just make sure that you check all of our links, our Facebook, our Venus Vault, and you can reach us at thevenusvault.com. We're also going to have information about Sandy there every day. We'll have that on in a few days. We have a page where we have our guest information on. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful week, and we're going to see you next week on the Venus Vault here on Radio Phoenix.